Welcome to RED35, and I'm very excited because I can finally show you guys the latest TUF series, the TG-6.
Dude, you got the wrong camera.
Oh shit, sorry. The TG-6 here. I'm a wildlife photographer. TG-6 is the perfect companion. What's after number 5? Well, of course it's number 6. So this is Olympus' latest TUF camera, the TG-6, and yeah, it looks basically the same as the TG-5. Well, Olympus has worked very hard to update this camera, but there are a lot of similarities, but also there are some subtle differences I think is worthwhile mentioning. So here it is, we have them side by side next to each other. As you can see externally, it is just identical. You know, the only difference you can tell that, you know, this one is new or this one is old. Actually, I'm a bit confused myself. is that, you know, from the front, you know, the Olympus text is now a more like kind of contemporary dark grey color compared to the original white color. And then the other difference is obviously from the back, you know, there is a TG-6 marking instead of, yeah, the TG-5. Other than that, same button, same layout, and in fact it's the same shell. I actually think they're interchangeable.
Did you hear it in the wind? Did you fear it once again? Did you see it closing in?
I want to tell you something, why the TG series has such a successful career so far since the very original TUF camera, and it's because how versatile and how tough it is. And I have to say, this is very popular among families, and simply because a lot of family guys out there, mums, dads alike, and yeah, they might have a better camera out there, but when they go with a young family with kids around, and they always take the smallest camera. I know smartphones are getting better and better, but the thing is, they are still not as tough as these guys here. I mean, you can't really drop it or dive too deep in those phones. They may be water resistant, but you're more like resisting raindrops and things, not really actually swim in it. But these guys, you can actually take it anywhere. You know, like if you are very clumsy, for instance, you know, you might actually drop the camera into a pond or something like that, and this would definitely survive. You just have to pick out from it. When it gets a little dirty, all you need to do is just put it under the tap, you know, just splash it with water, and you're you're good to go basically. And also in terms of features, you know, there are a lot of TUF cameras or action cameras out there, like the GoPro, maybe even the latest DJI action camera, but it still can't beat these guys there, because yeah, obviously those are really tailored for those kind of action stuff, and but this is still more versatile because it has a zoom, and it does a lot more than just videoing, and it's the still wise. This is very cool, especially in the macro mode. You know, I have so much fun with these cameras in terms of macro mode, and sometimes, you know, you have to carry a dedicated macro lens on your camera and to be able to get these sort of shots. But these things, seriously, it has a microscopic mode which allows you to do some crazy stuff. Your kids will love it. I love it. You know, I definitely very much enjoy that sort of like microscopic photography. Even just for fun, when you're going out and about, you can see details, show your kids what the leaves look like or the bug in close-ups. You know, it's really cool. And I still rate these cameras very highly among families, and especially if you want something that is basically indestructible, and you know, yeah, this is kind of the only choice. There is a saying, if it ain't broke, and don't fix it. You know, this is exactly what Olympus did to their TG-6. And yeah, why fix it if you got the perfect little camera already? But they did work very hard to update it just a little bit, just enough to call it an update. And you know, I really enjoy the TG5, and having used the TG6, I do find a couple of things that is really interesting actually. First of all, if you look at externally, although I say that you use the same body shell like the TG5, but if you actually look closer, the back screen is actually slightly thicker, you know, and it's actually probably about a millimeter thicker. That means it's probably can withstand a little bit more pressure, and don't quote me on that, you know, there's no scientific proof, and Olympus didn't even say about this, but you know, I'm just by observing it just externally, it does have a very thick piece of glass at the back there. Then talking about the back glass here, the screen has been updated. The old guy here, you know, has a 480 dot resolution, while the new one has 1 million dots, so the resolution is double. And so it's nice and crisp, you know, for by any modern standard. But using it for a while, I actually don't think there's much difference between the two. You know, like, yeah, you can actually see it's a little bit clearer, and but you know, in general use, you know, especially in days like this, you know, because most of the time you'll be holding the camera like this anyway, you're not really putting it close up to your eyes, so you really can't tell the difference that much. And because it uses the same lens, what Olympus did was they now use the latest TruePic 8 processor, you know, which is the same as the M1 Mark II and the M1X, their flagship camera, or the flagship of the flagship. Yeah, it always confuses me. But anyway, so so what that means is it's got slightly faster operation all round, so it does feel a little bit snappier in general, and also when it comes to JPEG images. And I do notice that there's a slight improvement in details, and not only the noise level slightly less, but also a little bit sharper, even though it has the same lens, so which is actually quite interesting. There's one more update that I want to tell you guys, I can't show you because it's internal, is that Olympus has given us an anti-reflective coating on the sensor itself to reduce ghosting. Well, over the last 2 years, you know, I do notice some ghosting, especially when I shoot underwater or directly into the sun itself. So as I haven't really tested in the water, so I can't really say that. So, you know, you have to check back to our Instagram later to find out exactly whether this latest improvement is actually good or not. And so at the moment I would trust Olympus, you know, because they specifically saying that they have introducing this anti-reflective coating in the sensor. So yeah, I'll take their word for it for now.
I'm on the search to find it. I may insist, but I'll overcome, 'cause I'm an optimist.
I talked about versatility, and because this thing does stills and video, and in video mode, and it basically the same as TG5, it shoots 4K, which is brilliant, at 30 frames or 25 frames per second. It also does Full HD in 1080 at 60 and 30 frames per second, also 25. And in high speed mode, yeah, high speed slow mo, which is pretty cool. So you can do Full HD in 120 frames per second or 720p in 240 frames per second, and also standard definition at 480, which is actually pretty cool because it does allow you to slow things down quite dramatically to get that little bit of a from your slow-mo work. And for kids, you know, it's pretty cool because you can see all these like bugs flying, the wing flapping things out, so it's pretty amazing. So the TG-6 inherited a lot of the good stuff from the TG-5, but at the same time it also carries some of the bad stuff from it as well. To start it off is the battery life, and yeah, it still sucks because it uses exactly the same tiny minuscule battery from the TG-5, and it means it doesn't really last long. In still mode it lasts a couple of hundred shots, which is actually not too bad if you're just shooting photos on a day trip. But as soon as you start recording 4K video, that's when you see the battery draining really quickly. You can literally see the battery gauge coming down, which isn't all that great because if you are the type of person who's going out to shoot photos as well as video, you will probably need at least 2 or 3 more spare battery lying around, or if you've got a power bank, you know, to charge your mobile phone, you can actually use that to charge it via the USB on the side as well. And the good thing is though, is that you can actually charge it and use it at the same time. So I guess that's kind of like a way out in a way. Second is continuous AF. Well, it's a little bit improved compared to the TG-5, but solely because of the latest processor, the TruePic 8 compared to the TruePic 7, because the latest processor is a lot more powerful and faster compared to the older generations. In stills and video, in very bright daylight, it's okay, it works fine, it tracks the subject very well, but as soon as it goes a little bit dimmer, like overcast, just like right now, and then it was starting to struggle a little bit. You know, you can forget about it in low light as well. But in that regards, it's just not very good. However, there is a couple of improvements in that department though. First of all is the face detection is actually better compared to the older one, and also in manual focusing mode. I don't know if you haven't checked out my previous review, just go and watch it. I did complain about manual focusing because in the TG-5, and when you enable manual focus for videoing, once you start recording, you cannot change the focusing, and which is a little bit silly really, you know, like the whole point of manual focusing, you can actually adjust on the fly. The TG-6 does allowing you to do that. It does also have peaking, which is actually pretty awesome, and so you can confirm the actual focus by seeing all these red, white or black, you know, whatever color preference you prefer in the setting itself. But that's another thing which kind of puzzled me, is that when although it now allows you to continue adjusting your focusing while you're recording, but for some reason the peaking disappears, you know, like, so you can still see things going in and out where you can adjust it, the focus yourself, but you won't see the peaking assist, which is why.
It's as simple as it seems, the twinkle in your eyes, the way that time slows down when you kiss me. As we fall asleep in a bed of butterflies, just close your eyes and then you'll see it. You don't ever have to look too far, you don't have to cover up your scars. You're perfect, darling, just the way you are. So before you think to rip yourself apart, open up my heart and you'll find the
final thought on TG-6. Well, a little bit of a mixed bag from me. As just a standalone camera, and I think it's still the best, like, kind of all-round tough cameras out there. And as a stealth, it's also the best top TG series so far. You know, no doubt about it, it's definitely better than a TG-5. But is it worth upgrading to this model? Well, that depends what you have already. If you are a TG5 owner, no, you definitely don't need this because it's very, very similar. Despite that this does actually give you better image quality, at least in JPEG mode, it does give you a little bit more detail, especially low light situations. But in terms of videoing and all the other features, it's very, very similar to your TG5 already. But if you own a older TG series like TG3 and TG4, yes, this will definitely blow you away, you know. And in terms of image quality, this will be, you know, a lot better in low light and also underwater. No doubt about it. It's very, very good. And also connectivity wise, you know, it's just like the TG5. You can connect to OI Share and also the OI Tracker app, which allows you to track all kinds of things in it, whether it's going to be the pressure sensors and all the other field sensors that it has in this camera, and also GPS, track your locations and tag your photos and everything like that. So it does all that with the TG5 and 6. So if you own an older camera, this would definitely be a worthy upgrade. So there you go. You know, I personally really like the TG-6, and I think it's the best TG series so far. Like the old one, you know, I really digging this one, and no doubt I will be taking this all over the world with me again with my family. And then my kids definitely love the TG, and then they always take it around, but I don't have to worry about it because it's so tough. You know, even if they drop it on the floor accidentally, or they use it as a weapon to hit each other, you know, I know they probably hurt more than this. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if this is your first time by clicking that button there, and put on that bell notification to say notified when we have a new video coming out. So until next time, happy shooting! So what? Okay. Blah, blah, okay. What am I talking about? And I think this is exactly what Olympus did to the latest TG5, because the TG, I actually said TG5. Olympus has given us an anti-reflect. Okay. Hi, Beaver. Look, I'm the beaver with the two TG5s and TG6 on my ear. If I drop this, I probably won't be able to retrieve it because it looks it's covered in moss. Oh, okay. It's a good thing that I have insurance. I like clean pigeons.
Is there such thing as a clean pigeon?
Yeah, there is. The pigeons here are quite clean. Fat pigeons. I like fat pigeons. But is it worth the upgrade to the TG5? Well, if you really own a TG. Hello! Looks so cool, isn't it? Looks so cute. Look at that. I can put it in both eyes.